Today's message is for chosen and favored people. For chosen and favored people, there are three things or three phases in life that all of favored and chosen people go through that you really need to know and understand. And the reason you need to know and understand what these three phases are that every chosen and favored person goes through is so that you understand the journey, you stay encouraged throughout the journey, and you properly navigate your journey from where you are to the destiny God has for you. So, for those of you who have never been here before, welcome. My name is Shelomith, and I would like to welcome you to another Shelomith Inspires Sunday School, Detour to Destiny Sunday School. So, let's get right into it. There are three phases that all chosen people need to understand, three phases of life. The first phase is the revelation of the vision, the revelation of God's plan for your life. The second phase is the transition from where you are to the vision God has shown you for your life. And then the third phase is the actualization of the vision that God has shown you in terms of what is to be of your life. Now, the reason it's crucial that you understand what these three phases are, what to expect during these three phases, and how to navigate these three phases is because you don't want to get discouraged getting from here to there. You don't want to lose faith in the fact that what God has shown you will actually occur. And you don't want the common obstacles or the common trials and tribulations, the common experiences that happen from getting from point A to point B to shake you and to make you doubt whether or not the vision God showed you is actually the vision God showed you, because it is. So today we're unpacking all three of these, and the favorite person we are studying is Joseph. We're studying the life of Joseph. Now, Joseph was the youngest of Jacob's sons. Jacob, also called Israel. Joseph was Jacob's favorite son because he was the baby, he was the youngest, and also because um, Joseph was born during Jacob's older years in life. Now, Jacob, it was very obvious that Joseph was the favorite. And Jacob also gave Joseph a coat of many colors. So just imagine Joseph is chosen. He has this beautiful coat that his father gave him that his brothers did not receive. He has his brothers looking and knowing that he's the favorite. And this caused a lot of envy and it caused a lot of hatred. So as we read, we find out that Joseph was hated because he was favored. He was hated because he was chosen. Genesis 37, 3 through 4 says this. It says, Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. Right. So, because it was obvious to the other siblings that he was the favorite, he was hated and he was envied. The parallel that I'm making is that a lot of you are chosen, a lot of you are blessed, a lot of you are wearing a coat of many colors in your own right. So, what does that look like? A lot of you have exceptional lives. A lot of you who are favored and chosen, you are blessed. Things just always seem to work out, right? And there are people around you who see that you're favored, your coat of many colors, so to speak, highlights that you're favored. You're undoubtedly favored because your life is so blessed. And there are people around you who envy you and who hate you because you are favored. And that's just something that you have to recognize, because you need to identify that you are a favored person, you are a blessed person, but you don't, it's important that you're not naive in the fact that other people see the favor on your life. Other people see your coat of many colors play out when you're blessed, when you're the person who always seems, quote unquote, everything works out for you. When you're the person who has an exceptional life, exceptional experiences, right? There are other people who look at that and they're not happy for you. They are envious of you. So I wanted to set the stage for what that looks like as we go through the three phases. So as I said, there are three phases of life that all chosen and favored people go through. The revelation of the vision and God's plan for your life. The second thing was the transition from where you are to the favor that from where you are to the place God has decided to place you, and then the actualization of you being and existing in your destiny. So, dealing with or unpacking the first phase, which is the revelation, the vision that God has for your life. Those of you listening to me, there are many of you listening to me who you have a vision, you have big dreams. God has revealed to you things about your life. God has revealed how He's going to use you in a miraculous way. God has revealed to you promises. God has shown you visions of yourself and achieving great things that you want to achieve, things bigger than you ever dreamed of achieving. So there are those of you listening to me who have visions that God has shown you of wonderful, miraculous things that are going to happen in your life. This is the first phase. God reveals His plan for you to you because God knows that during the transition, He wants you to stay encouraged. He wants you to have motivation for life. He wants you to have motivation to keep going. And one of the greatest motivations to stay focused, to stay encouraged, is for God to show you what lies ahead. So that's why the first phase of every blessed and favored person's life is actual revelation of the vision God has over your life. Some of you have had people prophesy over you your entire life. Some of you have just always had visions of where God is taking you. Some of you have burning desires for great things that you wish to achieve, great visions of yourself and who you wish to become. And those are planted there by God as a compass to lead you to what He has for you. So the vision is there to keep you motivated through life. The vision is given to you so that you know what you are moving towards, so that you know what lies ahead, and so that you are encouraged. Understanding that you have the vision, it's important that you understand how to protect the vision. One thing that's really important is that you understand you cannot share your vision with everyone. You cannot share your vision for your life, the things that you plan on doing, the great things you plan on achieving. You can't share that with people who hate you and people who are envious of you, because you sharing it is not making them happy for you. You sharing it is not encouraging them. All it's doing is adding fuel to the fire of hatred and envy that they have towards you. And we see this in Genesis 37:5-8. It says this. It says, and Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. Right? Joseph had a dream. He shared the dream with his brothers, and him sharing the dreams with his brothers made his brothers hate him more. For those of you listening, some of you have plans, some of you have great aspirations, some of you have things that God has shown and revealed to you. And when you reveal it to people, it's only making them hate you. Be mindful of that. And he said unto them, we're at Genesis 37, verse 6. And he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and stood upright, and behold, your sheaf stood round about and made obeisance to my sheaf. Right? And his brethren said unto him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. Right? So some of you are sharing things. It's kind of like you're putting salt on the wound for those who hate you and those who are jealous of you. So be mindful of that. And then we go on to 9. So he already said that, my sheaf stood roundabout, and my sheaf stood tall, yours stood roundabout, and made obeisance unto my sheaf, and that was contentious for them. And then he dreamed yet another dream and told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me, or obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brother, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brothers envied him, but his father observed the same. So Joseph has two dreams. He keeps going back to his brothers, telling them the dream. His brothers are already jealous and envious, and it's just making the hate and the contention grow and brew even more. So that moves us into, so he has the vision, and the point of it is hold on to your vision and be mindful and careful of who you share your vision with, but knowing how to navigate the vision, right? So this moves us into phase two, which is you're going to go through a phase of transition in which you go from here, where you presently are, to the vision that God has for you. You need to understand that as you navigate from where you are to the destiny that God has revealed to you, people will try to block you. It just is what it is. There are going to be people who try to stop you from getting from where you are to where you are destined to be. There are going to be people who try to sabotage contracts. There will be people who try to sabotage your business deals. There will be people who try to break your spirit and discourage you. There will be people who will slander your name. There will be people who will lie on you flat out. There will also be people who just want to or try to kill you and destroy you. That is the truth of the matter. People who are favored and people who are blessed, you can't go around being oblivious to the fact that your lifestyle stirs up jealousy, envy, and hatred in people. And when it does, you will be faced with people who try to sabotage, who try to block contracts, who try to block deals, who try to sabotage deals. And I know it's all about positive thinking, but you need to know what you're up against. Looking at Joseph, right? So we're using Joseph as our point of reference. So Joseph was highly favored. Joseph was a favorite of his father. Joseph was given a coat of many colors. Joseph was revealed a vision of his life, and he shared it with his brothers, and it made them hate him and envy him more. So, with all of that in context, one day Joseph's brothers were out feeding the flock, and Jacob, also called Israel, told Jacob, hey, your brothers are out feeding the flock. Go and join your brothers. The brothers saw him coming. And when they saw him coming, they plotted to kill him. Let's read it. So in Genesis 37:18, it says this. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer comes. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say, some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. Right? So they're like, hell, here come the dreamer in a way that was mocking him. Let's kill him. And then we'll tell our father that an animal killed him, and then let's see what becomes of his dreams. Now Reuben heard it and delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. So his brothers are plotting to kill him. Reuben hears it, and Reuben tries to save him and talk the brothers out of killing him and say, hey, let's not kill him. Let's just put him in the pit. Because Reuben's plan was to circle back around and to save him and to bring Joseph back to his father. Some of you, oh, let's keep going. And they took him, we're at 24, and cast him into the pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. So Joseph is coming to help his brothers feed the flock. They see him coming. They conspire a plan. They see him afar off, and they say, we're going to kill him, and then let's see what becomes of his dreams. Reuben talks them down and says, hey, don't kill him. Just put him in the pit. So Joseph shows up. They attack him. They rip his coat of many colors from him, and they throw him in the pit. I want to pause there because a lot of you listening, or some of you listening, are in an unfair place. Some of you listening to me are in a pit. Some of you listening to me are void of a deal that should have gone through because people who were jealous of you sabotaged the deal and now you're in a pit. Some of you listening are in an unfair place, or you were fired from a job or relieved from an opportunity because people who were jealous of you, people who envied you and hated you, did something unfair, did something unjust, and put you in the pit of unemployment or put you in the pit of a lost opportunity. Some of you are void of a relationship or a business relationship that was supposed to take place, but because someone was envious of you, because someone hated you, because someone hated the favor that's on your life, they lied, they sabotaged the situation, they smeared your name, and you are in the pit of a relationship or a business relationship that did not take place. Some of you listening to me are in a pit. What pit are you in that someone placed you in? What disadvantage are you in? What place are you in? What position are you in that someone put you in because they were jealous of you and because they hated on you? Right? Think about that. Let's continue to read. So 25 says this, and they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes, and they looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brothers, what profit is it if we slay our brethren and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother in our flesh, and his brethren were content. And there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So I want to point this out, and I want to pause here because initially the plan was to kill Joseph, to take Joseph out and to put him in the pit, right? Then Reuben tried to spare his life and talk the brothers down and say, no, let's not kill him. Let's just put him in the pit. I want you to pay attention to the fact that they attacked him. They ripped him of his coat of many colors and they threw him in the pit. They had no consciousness about it, right? And they were just no conscience about it. They were just sitting around eating dinner and as if all was good. Then they see the Ishmaelites coming along, and then they say to themselves, wait a minute, he actually can be of some value to us. How about we sell him? Some of you are being spared by your enemies, are being spared by those who hate you, not because they don't hate you, but because they see an opportunity to profit from you. Some of you, the only reason your enemies and those who are jealous of you and those who hate you, the only reason they did not follow through with the plan to utterly destroy you, because their heart still has a heart to destroy you, but they're just keeping you around because they see a way they can profit from you. They see a way that keeping you around can benefit them. Be not mistaken. People who are jealous of you, people who hate you, people who are envious because God's favor is upon your life, just because they're not striking doesn't mean they're not jealous of you. They very well may be keeping you around just because they see a way they can benefit from the favor that's on your life. They see a way that they can profit from keeping you around. And you need to be mindful of that. They kept Joseph alive because when the Ishmaelites came around, they saw an opportunity to make money off of Joseph. Some of you are surrounded by enemies who see an opportunity to make money off of you. Some of you are surrounded by enemies and people who hate you, who mean you no good, who don't want to see you survive. And the only reason it appears as if they are helping you is because they see a way that you can benefit them. Be not deceived. Pay attention to the people who are around you. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. If you have an inclination that people are jealous of you, be careful. Protect yourself. Because the only way that people who are jealous of you, people who are envious of you, people who hate you, keep you around is to benefit them in some way. Don't get it twisted. They will definitely sell you out as soon as the price is right. As soon as the opportunity presents itself, don't think they won't sell you out. Just like Joseph's brothers sold him out as soon as the opportunity of the Ishmaelites came around and they saw that opportunity to sell him out. The very person they were about to kill and destroy, when the opportunity presented itself, they're like, hold on, we'll keep him around. And they sold him. Be careful. Don't let it be you. All right. And I wanted to say that to encourage you. So going on, so we're at that phase, right? So Joseph was sold, and after the Ishmaelites bought him, they sold him to Potiphar as a slave. And I just kind of want to encourage those of you who have been sold out. Now I'm talking to the people who have been sold out. The people who the person who you thought was in it, but they were just in it because they were opportunists and they sold you out. This part of the message is for those of you who are in that situation to be encouraged. This part of the message, as we talk about the transition, right, when you're in that in between phase, some of you may be in a pit. I want to encourage you, and I want you to know that I don't want you to just look at the fact that Joseph was sold into slavery. I don't want you to just look at the fact that Joseph was in prison. I want you to look at the fact that no matter where he was, God was with him. Because the encouragement is, I don't want you to focus on the fact that you lost the opportunity. I want you to focus on, even though you lost the opportunity, God is still standing with you. I don't want you to focus on the fact that you are unemployed. I want you to focus on the fact that even though you are unemployed, God is still with you when you're unemployment. I don't want you to focus on the fact that you are in a lesser position or in a dead deal or in a smaller contract or in a smaller opportunity or working with a smaller client or that you lost the bid. I don't want you to focus on that. I want you to focus on the fact that where you presently stand, God is still with you. God is always with you, turning every situation into a miracle that still bows down to what God says about your life and still makes the situation, whether you're in jail, whether you're in an unfortunate situation, whether you're in an unfair position, whether you're in a lesser position, no matter where you are, God is there making that situation bow down and submit to what he says is true about you. So it's making that situation still bless you. It's making that situation still elevate you to where he says you are destined to be. God's hand is still using everything that they use or everything that they attempted to do to block you, to keep you out, to shut the dream down, to kill the dream, to kill you, to kill the opportunity. Everything they did to oppress you, God never left you. And he is still with you, turning that stuff around to lift you up and to elevate you to the destiny that he says you will arrive at, that you will exist in. So let's look at this again. The Midianites bought Joseph for 20 pieces of silver and sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, right? And even as a slave that was bought by Potiphar, God was with him, making the situation still bring to pass what God said would be concerning Joseph. So when we look at 39, Genesis 39, verses 1 through 6, it says this. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And the Lord was with Joseph. Even after Joseph was brought, verse 2 of chapter 39 says, and the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper. So he sold into slavery. And his master sees the favor of God on him because God never left him, even when he was in slavery. And his master is seeing that everything Joseph does is still blessed, even though he is a slave. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him. And he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had, he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught what he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. Catch what I'm saying. Joseph was sold into slavery. Even in slavery, it was an unfair situation. It was a situation that he landed in because his brothers were jealous of him and because his brothers envied him and they hated him. They sold him into slavery. But even in slavery, God's presence was still with Joseph. And Joseph was so favored that even his master saw that God was with him. And even his master saw that he was favored and everything he did was blessed. So much so that as a slave, he was put in charge of the master's house and the master was hands off. Like, I don't even know what I have. I don't know what's going on. I trust Joseph so much that outside of what I'm eating, I'm not even paying attention to what's happening in my household with my stuff, with my goods, because Joseph is the head of this house, even though he was sold to me as a slave. So I don't care what situation you're in, God is still with you. God will make every situation bow down and be obedient to what he says about your life, to who he says you are, right? Even when lied on by Potiphar's wife and cast into prison, God was in prison with him, making even the situation in prison manifest what God was determined to be true about Joseph's life. So when we look at Genesis 39, verses 19, so Potiphar's wife lied on Joseph and said that he tried to pursue her and take advantage of her. She lied on him. Her lie landed him in prison. And it came to pass, so we're at 39:19, and it came to pass when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, even in prison. God was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor. We're back on that favor word, in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper. We have gone from being a slave in the slave master's house, and still what God said about Joseph prevailed, because Joseph still became the head of the house when he was a slave. And the master took his hand off and said, Joseph is in charge. Then we move over. Now Joseph is in prison. And the same thing happens. The prison guard takes his hand off and says, Joseph is in charge of the prison. And I'm not even paying attention. I'm not even managing what's happening inside of this prison, because Joseph, even though he is a prisoner and he was put here unfairly, put here because the wife lied on him, he still ended up in his position, no matter what position he was in. When he was a slave in the slave master's house, he still was elevated to the head of the house because God was with him, and God was determined that God made him a leader, and he still was a leader. When he was a slave, he still was a leader. Then he ends up in prison. And even in prison, God is with him and God never left him. And he became the leader in the prison. Because no matter what situation you are in, people cannot remove God from you, and people cannot remove your destiny and your gift and your calling from you. Your destiny is going to manifest itself no matter what situation you're in. Whether you're in a fair situation, you're going to be who God says you are. Whether you're in an unfair situation, you're going to be who God says you are. You are. Whether you are in a situation because somebody lied on you and that what seems to be lesser situation, you are still going to be who God says you are. If you are in a lesser contract, in a lesser business deal, you are still going to be the head that God has made you. You are the head and not the tail. No matter where they place you, they cannot remove your destiny from you. No matter where they place you, no matter where your haters and your enemies place you, they cannot extract your destiny from you. They cannot extract your position from you. You're going to show up as a leader in prison. You're going to show up as a leader in the lesser business deal. You're going to show up as a leader even if you're in a slave house. You're going to show up as a leader even if you're in a demoted position. No matter where they place you, they cannot not make you who God says you are. And they cannot take God away from you. And God's hand is always going to be there. No matter where you land, God's hand is going to be there, making that situation be a situation that's prosperous. It's going to prosper everything you do. The anointing is going to show up. I don't care if you're in the mud is going to be favored and it's going to produce something miraculous. And they're going to say, how did they come out the mud? Because God is with you. And God's hand doesn't change. God's plan for you doesn't change. It's just because the situation changed. And that's what enemies and haters don't understand. They think that they're blocking you, but you can't. No one can block you when God is with you. No one can stop you when God never leaves you. I don't care what they take from you. If God is with you, God will create whatever he has for you out of thin air, out of that situation, out of that dry place, out of that hopeless situation, out of that dead business deal. You serve a God that gives life to dry bones. You serve a God who resurrects from the dead. There's nowhere they can place you that can stop you from being who he made you to be. When they placed Joseph as a slave, he still was a leader. When they placed Joseph in prison, he still was a leader. When Joseph got placed in Pharaoh's house, he still was a leader. No matter where he showed up, who he was showed up. No matter where he was, God's hand was there making everything he touched prosperous. And it's the same for you. So fast forward, Joseph is in the prison and he's placed and positioned as the head, the lead of everyone and everything that's going on in the prison. But not only is he in the prison, though, he's in a prison where the people who directly serve the king are placed. So again, is he's still positioned. Everything that Satan meant for evil, God turned it around and positioned him where he needed to be to fulfill the destiny, because the destiny doesn't get X'd out. So he's in prison, but he's in a part of the prison where those who directly serve the king are placed. And here comes the head of the butlers and the head of the bakers, right? And they made the king upset, and they end up in prison, and they're under Joseph's management because Joseph is over. He's the lead. He's the head. And they have dreams, and they don't understand their dreams. And Joseph one day is going through, checking out everyone in the prison, and he sees that they're sad, and he asks them, "Why are you sad? Why are you sad? Why are you upset?" And they tell him, "We have these dreams, and we don't know what these dreams mean." Joseph says, "Okay, tell me the dreams," and he interprets the dreams. He makes sure to let them know that it's God who's interpreting the dream, but he tells them what the dreams mean. And Joseph says, "When you get out of prison, make sure you put in a good word for me because I don't even deserve to be here." So lo and behold, they get out of prison. The butler does not remember the promise that he made. I'm sorry, the head of the butlers, the chief of the butlers doesn't remember the promise that he made to Joseph to put a good word in for him. 2 years later, right? 2 years later, Pharaoh has a dream, and he's calling in all the magicians and all of the seers, and no one can interpret what this dream means. And it's at that point that the chief of the butlers remember, oh yeah, that's right. Joseph interpreted our dreams, and he brings Joseph up, and Joseph comes, and the king says, "I heard that you can interpret dreams." And Joseph said, it's not me doing it, it's God doing it. And that's another thing. Those of you who are blessed and favored, it's very important that as you're exercising in your gift, as you're operating in your gift and in your destiny, you always remember to state and to affirm to yourself and other people that it's not you, it's God. Because it's important, because we are lights that shine to God so that people choose God. It's not about us. It's not about people saying how awesome we are. It's not about people saying how blessed and highly favored we are and how anointed we are. It's not about that. It's about God working through us, being a testimony to point people to God. And Joseph said, it's not me, but it's God interpreting the dream. And Joseph interprets the dream and explains to Pharaoh that the dream means for 7 years is going to be overflow. And then for following that 7 years is going to be 7 years of famine, right? So let's read that. Genesis 41, verses 37 through 45. So this is what happened after Joseph interprets the dream. No one else could interpret the dream. And this, well, let me go back to 41:16. Let me see what's on 41:16. Oh yeah. So they bring Joseph forward, and the king is like, okay, I heard that you can interpret this dream. Tell me what it means. And this is how Joseph responds. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, and he's explaining to him everything that happens in the dream, right? So when we fast forward after Pharaoh tells Joseph the dream. You can read all of chapter 41. But Pharaoh tells Joseph the dream. Joseph interprets the dream. And this is what happens in Genesis 41:37 through 45. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, meaning the interpretation was good, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this man? As this is a man in whom the Spirit of God is? I'll read it again. 38 says, and Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is? A man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as you are. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Again, no matter where Joseph ends up, he ends up in the position God said that he's destined for. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. Let's pause right here, because in the beginning, we see Joseph favored, and his father gives him a coat of many colors. Fast forward, everything that they took the coat, they stripped the coat from him, and they covered it in blood and told his father that he was murdered. Fast forward, he's put in more linen, greater than the linen that he was put in the beginning, because he is being set as king in action by Pharaoh. And Pharaoh is saying, really, you are the king. Really, I'm giving you the position as king and as leader, right? I'm really just here, politically on the throne, but really I'm giving all the power to you. And we're going to do whatever you say do. Look at that. And then in 43, it says, and he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. Y'all hear that? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. You hear that? So Pharaoh, after Joseph interpreted the dream, Pharaoh positioned Joseph as head over all of Egypt. everywhere Joseph ended up, from being a slave to being in prison to being in the king's, listen, no matter where he was, God positioned him in his destiny. I don't care what pit you're in. I don't care what unfair place you're in. I don't care what prison you're in. I don't care in what lesser business deal you're in. I don't care in what unfair situation you're in. I don't care where you are right now because someone lied on you, because someone stole a contract, because someone sabotaged a business deal. I don't care where you are right now, even where you stand. You are everything God called you to be. Just like Joseph was a leader in every situation he was, from the prison to the king's house, no matter where he was, God elevated him to who he was. He was a leader in every situation. No matter where they place you, they cannot take away the destiny God has for you. And not only can they not take it away, they can't remove God from you. And God's favor is still on you. Even though it may seem like a lesser position, that lesser position is still a setup for where God said you will be. And you will be there, and no one can stop it. No one can stop it. So that is the message that I want to deliver to those of you, because everything, that vision that he had way back when, that vision he had when he told his brothers about the vision, that vision came to be. Everything they did to stop it, they just propelled him to it. And not only did they propel him to it, to the place where he did become the king, he did become the leader. They did eventually end up bowing down to him, because as we know the story, or for those of you who don't know the story, we had the 7 years of abundance, and then the 7 years of famine came. And when the 7 years of famine came, because God used Joseph, he had stored up everything in the storehouse during the 7 years of plenty so that the land could survive the 7 years of famine. And just like he saw in his dream, his brethren did have to end up coming to him for food. And they did end up bowing down. And his mother and father and his whole family did end up being in a position where they had to humble themselves and bow down and ask him for help. And he saw it way back then. And the jealousy and the envy tried to make them murder him so that he wouldn't get to it. And everything they did to try to take him out of his vision placed him right in the middle of the destiny that God determined for him. And God was with him every step of the way. So I don't want you to look at the circumstance. I don't want you to look at the fact that you didn't get the promotion because someone lied on you, or because someone took it, or because of nepotism, or because of favoritism, or sexism, or racism. I don't want you to look at the fact that you don't have the position because of those things. I don't want you to look at the fact that you didn't get the contract or you didn't get the business deal because someone lied on you. I don't want you to look at the fact that you were fired because someone smeared your name. I don't want you to look at the fact that you were displaced or you are in a situation that's not fair. Don't see the situation, see God in the situation. Don't see the position, see God putting you in position, in that position. You see what I'm saying? Don't see yourself in the position as a prisoner. See yourself that even as a prisoner, God still positioned you as the leader. Don't see yourself as the slave. See yourself as the slave who God still put in charge as a leader, as a slave, because no matter what position, no matter what title, no one can strip from you who God says you are. You're going to show up and be who God says you are no matter what. And God is going to bless everything you touch no matter what. And guess what? That's just the in-between phase, because you're going to be blessed all the way in between, and you're still going to end up in the vision God showed you. So not only are you blessed from point A to point B, you still get to point B, and you still see all of the miracles in between, and you still see God reaffirming who you are in between. And you still see God reaffirming to you that you are who I said you are, and all the phases in between. And you still see God bless and touch everything in all the phases and all the unfair positions and in all the unfair places you find yourself in between. All of those places get blessed. And it's undeniable that you're anointed, and it's undeniable that you're chosen. So remember that, to the favored and chosen people. Whatever pit you are in, stop looking at the pit and look at God in there with you. Stop looking at the unfair position and see God there with you, still blessing you anyway. So again, in phase 3, we're at the manifestation phase. And we see that manifestation happen in Genesis 41, verses 38 through 44. I'm going to read it again. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, here's the manifestation of what he saw in that vision way back when. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is? A man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has shown thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as you are. Thou shalt be over my house, and according to thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. And he made him to ride in the chariot, the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. That is the manifestation of the original dream that Joseph had. You too will arrive at the manifestation and the full manifestation of the dream that God has shown you about your life, about what he said is true about you. So don't lose heart in between. Don't lose hope in the prison of it. Don't lose hope in the prison phase. Don't lose hope in the slave phase. Don't lose hope in the unemployed phase. Don't lose hope in the lost contract phase. Don't lose hope in the phase where they smear your name and lie on you and say you did something you didn't do. Nope. Don't lose hope. Don't focus on that. Focus on, even in prison, God is still with you, still making you who he said you was, and still blessing everything you do. Even in the lesser position, God is still with you, still blessing you, still elevating you to who he said you are, and blessing everything you do. You stay anchored in the fact that God never leaves you. And I want to leave you with Psalm 139. Psalm 139 says this. Psalm 139 says, O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know my down sitting and my uprising. You understand me far away. You compass my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. There is not a word in my tongue, but, O Lord, you know it all together. You have beset behind me and before me, and you have laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It's too high. I cannot even attain it. He's saying, you're everywhere. You know my every thought. You go ahead of me. You're behind me. You're all around me. You're always there. You know everything about me. It's too much. I can't even grasp how much involved you are in my life, is what he's saying. Whether shall I go from your spirit? Where can I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? We saw that because no matter where Joseph was, God was there. If I ascend up to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in hell, you're there. If I take wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, you're there. Even there shall your hand lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even in the night shall your light be around me. We saw this psalm manifest in Joseph's life. Joseph's life is a manifestation of this psalm. Joseph's life is what Psalm 139 looks like in realization and actualization. For thou hast possessed my reins. You have covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows right well. My substance was not hid from you when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. It's saying, like, even when I was being formed, even when I was being conceived, you knew everything about me. You were with me even when I was being conceived, before I even was birthed into earth. You've been with me. You have never left me. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being imperfect. And in my book are all your members written, which and continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. How precious are your thoughts unto me, O God. How great is the sum of them. If I could count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Surely you will slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, you bloody men. Right? So when we read that psalm of David, David is saying, you're always with me. You have never left me. I don't care if I go to the deepest part of the sea, the highest mountain, lay my bed in hell. If I'm in darkness, every time I turn around, you're with me. You have never left me. When my mother and father conceived me, your spirit was right there, and you were still with me before I even came. You know everything about me. You know every thought. You know everything that I say, everything that I speak, and you are with me, and you're protecting me, and your hand is guiding me. We saw that with Joseph, and the same is true for you. So I just want to encourage you. You are blessed. You are favored. You are chosen. I don't care what in between phase you're in. I don't care what prison you're in right now. I don't care what unfair position you're in right now. I don't care what you think was stolen from you. Just like that coat was stolen from Joseph, and then he came back around for a circle. They stole the coat in many colors, and then God replaced that coat with the coat that the king put on him to say, hey, you are king of everything. I'm just king in name, but you're actually king in action. And he got that other cloak of fine linen and the gold chain. Same for you. You are blessed. You are favored. You are chosen. I don't care what situation you are in. You are blessed. You are chosen. You are favored. I don't care what you think was taken. God is still with you, so nothing was taken. I don't care what someone said to slander your name. God is still with you, so it doesn't matter because he's still positioning you where he said you will be. You still are who God says you are, no matter who lied on you. And you still will get everything God said he will give you now and in the future. You will see the full manifestation of everything God promised you. You will see the full manifestation of it because that's just how God is, because that's how God works. So praise God in the in between, praise God in the prison and see God there with you. Praise God in the lesser position and see God with you. Praise God where you are right now and see God with you. Praise God where you are right now and see how God still elevates you in the position you are in right now. See the full manifestation of who God says you are, no matter where you are. Be blessed. Hold on to the vision. The vision is 100% manifesting itself. It's manifesting itself in all the spaces in between. Praise God for it. Hold on to it. Don't lose heart. Know that God is with you and be blessed. I love you so much. Step in your destiny. Be bold in your destiny. Never lose courage. Never lose hope. Never lose encouragement. Be encouraged. Know that everything that God showed you about your life is, and you are stepping into it and you're experiencing it and all the in between phases. And hold on to that. Be blessed. Hold on to your destiny. I love you so much. And until next week, have a blessed week.